with us. We now move on in a tense new chapter of the ongoing US-China trade dispute. Tempers are flaring over Beijing's most advanced homegrown semiconductors, just days after the two countries reached a temporary truce on tariffs. This week, China criticized the US for warning companies against using Huawei-made AI chips, accusing the Trump administration of undermining a recent trade consensus reached in Geneva. Both nations had agreed to ease the tariffs temporarily and work towards a broader deal within 90 days. The issue centers on Huawei's Ascent chips, advanced AI processors challenging NVIDIA's dominance. These chips are key to China's AI growth and reducing reliance on foreign tech. In response to the Trump administration's announcement lifting Biden-era chip restrictions, China accused the US of unilateral bullying and using export controls to suppress China. The US warned that using Huawei's Ascend chips could violate the export laws, but later clarified its language. Despite this, China now threatens legal action against businesses aiding US efforts to ban advanced Chinese chips under its anti-foreign sanctions law. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang revealed the company had to write off billions in inventory due to US export restrictions. He also warned that China's $50 billion market is a significant missed opportunity and criticized the US government's export controls, saying they may actually help China accelerate its own AI development. However, NVIDIA celebrated a win this week with a strategic partnership in Saudi Arabia to build AI factories, signaling a shift in US policy towards a more open stance on technology exports. We're now joined by Andrew K.P. Lung, China strategist located in Hong Kong. Thank you very much for joining us, Andrew, on the program as always. I want to know about this Huawei Ascend chip and why it's causing so much alarm in Washington right now.
Well, of course, the sanctions on China and the restrictions on China's access to high-end semiconductor chips is the keystone of America's anti-China policy, trying to contain China's rise technologically and also militarily, of course. Going back to the times with Huawei, with the arrest of the chief technology officer, and also sanctioning Huawei left, right, and center, only to see Huawei emerge from it all, not facing a collapse, but also finding additional avenues and growing its strength, because Huawei has been embedded in the world's 5G infrastructure all over the place. Now, as far as the high-end semiconductors, all talks are on the 9 nano chips of 3 nanometers and smaller. I mean, these are very, very tiny. So 1 nanometer is a 1 millionth of the breadth of a human hair. But what is significant is that one of the China's major iPhone conglomerates, Xiaomi, only a couple of days ago reviewed launch of its latest phone using a 3 nanometer self-developed chips. This suggests that China's really is reaping benefits from its its emphasis on self-reliance, even since Trump 1.0. So China's not actually out of the woods yet, but it's getting there very, very rapidly. And also the bottleneck of the lithography machines controlled by the world's only one company, capable of doing it. The ASML in Netherlands is using this kind of ultraviolet rays technology, whereas the latest development in China, they're finding another way, which is not depending on this ultraviolet rays, but able to again produce chips with even comparable, if not even more superior functions. So I think that technology is not a one single barrier. I think that the whole country, whole China, is all of society efforts to enhance its own self-reliance technology. And we are seeing a number of breakthroughs already, as I mentioned, Xiaomi and also Huawei. But I think that the technological war, semiconductor war, is not going to end, as in the case of, you just mentioned, missiles, high-end missile defense, because the two superpowers are now pitching against one another for dominance in various domains.
Andrew, there's no doubt of China's power when it comes to technology and technological manufacturing, but from Beijing's view, is this chip tension just another tool in a broader tech containment effort by the US?
Actually, it's not just chips, it's also for example, the United States has introduced measures restricting Chinese researchers in American universities, its access onto various kind of technologies, and in fact is scaring off quite a number of leading Chinese scientists. And then with the unwanted from the Americans' perspective, some of these leading scientists originally based in the United States are making a beeline back to Beijing, and they're bringing with them the technology and the kind of research and experience back to China. So I think that this is a conundrum the United States is facing. But there is no doubt that the two countries are pitching against one another for dominance, technology, geopolitics, trade, and so on.
Andrew, NVIDIA's CEO has warned the US is hurting its own companies with its economic policies. Do you see the Chinese officials, do you think, see this as a strategic advantage, or do they think that the US is bringing them down with them?
Well, I think if you look at Trump's no holds barred American first bullying tactics against the whole world, in fact, results in a major erosion of Americans' moral leadership of the so-called rule-based order, throwing the rules, all the rules to the wind and replacing it by rules of the jungle. Dictated American first hegemony, and even a number of traditional allies, and they are trying to recalibrate the relationship, not just with China, but with the rest of the world, but also with China. I mean, particularly the European Union, and also, of course, the global South. So I think that this Trump's no holds barred kind of confrontation and restrictions on China, particularly throwing all the rules established under the American-led liberal order for decades, has been counterproductive from Americans' perspective.
Yes.
It's really handing a lot of advantages to China.
Andrew KP Lang, thank you very much for joining us. Your insight is always valued. We now move over to